And we're back at it again here with the World Championship Series for StarCraft 2, live out of Austin, Texas, where the only thing hotter than the weather outside has been some of these wins. A lot of very, very heavy-handed victories coming in today. I'm your host, Nathanius, joined on the desk for our second semifinal by Rapid and Pig, and a little representative from the Americas region, our little dude over there.
Welcome
how
to
are
it.
you?
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about this second semifinal? Hopefully, maybe this could be the first one that goes 3-2. By that I mean it would have to be the first one if it was.
I was going to say, if it was, it would be, yes. I'm glad we brought the ZVZ experts on the desk for our TVP. You know, it's been a long day of games, but it hasn't actually been that long because the 3-0s have been coming through. I think when you look at this matchup, just like the last one, it has the potential to be pretty close. I feel like MaNa has really been tested this tournament and has really showed up against possibly the strongest opponents that he could have asked for. So when you now have to face off against SpeCial, I mean, this is where SpeCial's road ended in Leipzig. He's got to go the distance, and I really feel like he has the potential to, so MaNa's got to stand in his way.
Yeah, MaNa playing spoiler all tournament long, Pig.
I mean, it's kind of funny because he's been on a team kill streak, right? You know, he's just been kind of steaming through his own teammates. But I think MaNa, he's bringing that edge. There's something where speaking to the people in the audience over the tournament, there's a lot of people out there cheering for him because whenever you watch MaNa and he gets in his element, he's just such a competitor and he's such a micro beast as well, right? We see these games and we joke about if he has less army supply, then he's advantaged against his opponent, right? Because he just does so much with so little. He just needs a warp prism, a couple of units, and he's going to make magic happen with it. He's one of the most micro-oriented and decisive players, and it kind of harks back to the older days of StarCraft 2, where obviously, you know, he was a champion. And the fact that he can kind of capture that and show his trademark play here in 2018 is just awesome.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see how far our veteran Protoss player has come. We have the bracket, of course, to look at one more time as we figure out who our second grand finalist will be. MaNa versus SpeCial to determine who will go up against the final boss. That is Cyril. Lambo drew blood, but
I mean,
not
really pushed
able,
him there.
Not able to take it all the way, not able to dethrone our tournament favorite, Rapid.
Well, when it comes to MaNa, I feel like he's been dethroning quite a few tournament favorites. So one more, hey, if he does go to the finals, I would say that is really his storyline for this tournament. It's how many players can you predict to beat him in a row before you predict MaNa to be the one to win?
Yeah, and we'll dive into it more in just a second. But first, let's take a look at the road to the semifinals for MaNa and SpeCial.
Wants to go through to that round of 8. There is simply no unity here for Neep, and our Polish Protoss has done it.
It's been a while since I've been to the semifinals, so it just feels like being back home.
The last bits of economy getting massacred there. SCV's pre-pulled. SpeCial knows he needs to hold this one last desperate attack. If he can defend this, he will win the game.
I'm in the semifinals, so I'm happy, but I really want to go to the final.
He's been having so many good results recently. He's been in the semifinals of BlizzCon, so that's one of the biggest achievements a foreigner can get. So he's definitely a scary player.
I think it's going to be hard because he's Protoss. But I don't know, I think he played good so far, so we'll see. I think I can win.
So SpeCial, you're a scary opponent, but I've already beaten better of me, so good luck.
Good luck, and I hope I win.
SpeCial, of course, always the gentleman, hopes to win. But MaNa brings up a very good point, gentlemen. He was supposed to lose to the last two players he went up against. Snoot had a really phenomenal year, made it to the global playoffs last year. Obviously, Neeb won 3 WCS titles last year, and MaNa smacked both of them down pretty hard.
I mean, there's one characteristic of SpeCial that neither of those two previous opponents has, and that is that MaNa has beaten both of those players before. In their entire history of all of the games that either of them have played, MaNa has never beaten SpeCial ever.
Not even a single map.
Not even one game.
Not even a single map
Never.
in a competitive history. And that includes such prestigious events as the Taco Cup in 2016.
Well, the Taco Cup, I think that says everything we need to know before we introduce these players. Smix, are you ready to help us figure out our second grand finalist today?
I am indeed, and I am excited to find out who it's going to be. It's going to be one of these two players in Austin. I am curious. Who here is cheering for Juanito? And on the flip side, who is supporting MaNa? Let's go ahead and bring those players out. It is SpeCial and MaNa.
Only one player can advance on now to fight against SpeCial, the overwhelming tournament favorite, the man deemed to be unstoppable, who has just destroyed everybody in his path. MaNa comes in as the underdog, the veteran who has been playing for so long, but so has SpeCial. SpeCial has the results more recently to back up the support that the fans are giving him. And I think one of the biggest things that for me that I've seen in SpeCial is that he's done a very good job of playing it safe. He's survived 2 Nidus attacks from very strong Zerg players. He's been very good at surviving against the early pressure his opponents have brought him in. I feel like MaNa's plays relied a lot on that pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing SpeCial adapt to his opponents. We saw it against Bly earlier on in the tournament. He was SCV scouting every game, something you don't see that much from SpeCial against Zerg. I think that's the key here against MaNa, right? Because MaNa is a wild card, and he's capable of doing, people were talking about earlier, he likes to do these old school builds where he just kind of makes 6 gateways and a warp prism and goes. We saw him force fielding ramps and kind of ferrying units back and forth. So there's a lot of dangerous options in the early game of Protoss versus Terran, and for SpeCial, it's going to be about kind of crossing those out and making sure he's safe against them and not exposing himself to any action in the early game, because late game, SpeCial is favored hands down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If it does go late, I feel like that's just where we've seen SpeCial take so many of his victories, even this tournament. If he's not winning by defending rushes early, he's winning by taking the games late and then winning it out in the end. So if you're MaNa, we've seen MaNa pull out some of these cheeky cheeses in his games before. I think that could be the way to a road to victory, but it's going to be a little bit bumpy.
Yeah, MaNa said it himself after the victory against Neeb. He said Neeb was expecting to play longer games. He was playing very straight up normal strategies, and MaNa's ability to be very aggressive and do things like deny that hallucinated Phoenix scout, for example, in that final game, really enabled him to get work done. And you just mentioned this pig, the force fields with the warp prisms, absolutely devastating. So MaNa's trickery, something that I think Protoss has a good amount of tools they can use against Terran to keep the game short.
I like that you say against Terran, because in this matchup specifically, Protoss versus Terran, Terran wants to be the aggressor, right?
Yeah.
Usually in a classic scenario, you're looking at a Terran player stopping Storm, stopping Colossi getting out. You want to be aggressive, but if your opponent is Protoss and they catch your aggression, counterattack, it can be over very, very suddenly.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to figure out our second grand finalist. Our second semi is ready. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Navy Thanias. I am Fear Dragon, and I'm joined by Roddy at the casting table. So we get ready to hop into this exciting series. Roddy, immediately right off the bat, any predictions?
SpeCial's the favorite, but MaNa is the man on fire. He's already done so much more than everyone predicted. So who am I to predict against him? I don't know. I just hope for a good series, as once again, we're going to kick things off on Dreamcatcher, a very popular map. This DreamHack. Over here on the bottom side, we're looking at the main base of our Polish Protoss, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa.
And his opponent, spawning up in the top left-hand corner of the map, the red Terran player, the last North American representative. It is SpeCial.
The NA Hope, the Terran Hope, going up against the Protoss Hope, Ravi.
Oh, man. My heart is torn right now so much, Roddy. I've got a lot of respect for MaNa making it this far over the opponents that he has. I was talking about this earlier. Neeb and Snoot, both really strong representatives of each of the respective races. If he can defeat SpeCial here, that is really setting himself up for just a lot of confidence going into the finals.
I mean, the story goes back way further for MaNa. Very often, group stage #1, which happens on Friday, of course. That's like, that's just a warm-up for these professionals, right? Well, not for MaNa. MaNa was actually put in a very, very tough group with two other incredibly strong European players, Namchar and Optimus, but he didn't sweat it. He didn't make any whiny tweets about it. He just showed up, did his thing, took care of business. He advanced again, and then eventually made it out of a very tough group where he beat Uthermal twice. Damn, I mean, that's super impressive.
Yeah, Uthermal, absolutely undisputed, one of the best Terran players in the entire foreign scene. So while he didn't quite have the most amazing performance here at this WCS event, he is a really, really difficult opponent to have beaten. So we'll see. The Stalker is going to be chrono boosted out to help take care of the Reaper once it finally makes its way across the map. But the SCV is going to be annoying. Also gain some scouting information. We do have, on the other side of the map, that 1-1-1 setup starting up from SpeCial as well.
Yep, that's the Stalker. Is not gonna get enough shots up on this Reaper. It got very close. We're gonna, of course, keep a close eye on that factory of SpeCial. Let's see what he decides to go for. We know the Hellion openings are still popular, but fallen out of fashion a tiny bit. Some Terran players love the Cyclones, but I think Cyclones in general, as this Reaper is actually getting some damage done.
That's really, really awesome, because SpeCial did what I think a lot of Terran players don't do. He leaves the SCV inside the main base, scouting around when the Reaper pops in. So the Stalker has to choose, oh, I'm going after the Reaper, I'm going after the SCV. MaNa goes after the SCV, Reaper comes in, kills a probe in the meanwhile.
Yep. In the end, this Reaper will go down, as it kind of seems like there could potentially be Banshees on the way for SpeCial. It could also be a Raven, of course, but he's not really utilizing his factory very much as yet. He went for an add-on. We'll keep a close eye on it. Cyclones, I want to say, not very popular on this map because there's a ramp going into the natural. And Cyclones, they truly excel on maps like Catalyst, where there is no ramp leading into the natural. Let's see what SpeCial decides to do with this starport. It is Banshees with Cloak at first, but I wonder if he might cancel Cloak if he sees that first Oracle show up in his main base.
Yeah, how do you usually feel about a Protoss player in the situation where they have that Oracle and oftentimes they want to go across the map, use that energy to do some damage, but then the Banshee suddenly shows up with Cloak?
I mean, if the Oracle flies to the other side of the map and kills 7 SCVs, which I'm not expecting, of course, but if that happens, I will gladly lose a couple probes at home because a single shield battery is actually going to give you like 20 seconds until it runs out of energy because a single Banshee doesn't do enough damage. I don't think this looks all that good on paper for SpeCial. He doesn't have any Widow Mines out, does he? What's the Marine count at? Does he have like 4 or 5? Okay, it does have 9 Marines, so ooh, they're pretty much all out in the natural. This main base is very exposed.
Okay, well, the Banshee scouts the Oracle. The Oracle also scouts the Banshee, so this is important for both players. MaNa just turns around, says, okay, you scouted my Oracle. It seems like you're probably going to be a little bit more prepared, but also, I'm going to make sure that you cannot do any damage with this.
I actually think that's pretty good for SpeCial, because if that Oracle would have dove straight into that mineral line, there's a good chance SpeCial loses a whole bunch of SCVs. He's already marching out as well with Marines and I think a single siege tank. This is actually a very fun, unorthodox push that we don't see very often. Obviously, there's no stim, no combat shield here.
Phoenix also on the way to help deal with the Banshee, but that might also be useful in being able to lift up that tank if the Marines get too far forward. He doesn't quite have the detection over here, but like you said, that shield battery going to be healing up all those workers. Oracle does get the Revelation down, and a bunker coming up by MaNa's third. I don't think he has vision of it.
Nope, but now he knows. Obviously, the Marines are starting to shoot at this Nexus. A single tank is going to siege up, but you mentioned that Phoenix. That Phoenix isn't only useful to take care of that Banshee like it did. It could potentially lift the tank as well. You want to be careful with your Stalkers. I think MaNa should go right here, right now. Otherwise, he's going to lose the Nexus.
It's getting focus fire down. It looks like SpeCial is going to take the direct engagement. There's the lift up on the siege tank, and the Phoenix takes a while to get focus fire down.
I mean, in the end, the Stalkers are going to take care of the tank now as well. Guardian Shield is massive. Sick micro on that Stalker as well. MaNa holds. In the end, that Stalker goes down, but he keeps the Nexus alive. And that is the most important thing. And at the same time, there is a shield battery buying some time in that main base while the Observer is being chrono boosted out. This is a really good hold for MaNa. What a start for the Polish Protoss.
Wow, holds on to that third critically, and you can see that SpeCial is only just now finishing up. Now the Banshee is finally depleted through all the shield battery energy, but there it is. The Observer pops out, like you said, Roddy, and only 4 workers go down. A brilliant hold from MaNa.
Yep, it was very close there, but that one Phoenix that he made at first to chase down those Banshees, as this Observer is going to spot that Banshee as well. MaNa is perhaps relying on his next Observer to take care of this. Did he not see it? It seems like he didn't see it.
I think he might not have seen it. The shield battery is a little bit more energy since it's been some time, but he's going to lose a couple more workers, and there is the Stalkers. Where is that Phoenix? Oh, the Phoenix got taken out, right?
Yeah. That's a little bit sloppy because he did technically spot it with the observer, but I guess he wasn't paying attention. Maybe he didn't expect. And the next push is already here as well. And now things are starting to get very hectic for MaNa. I suddenly think he might be in a little bit of trouble.
Okay, SpeCial is going after the army units though, and the siege tanks are now dealing with the zealots on top of them. So the siege tanks are going to go down. The Marines are taking out those last guys. Oh, one siege tank is going to survive, and that might just be enough. That might be enough to actually take out this Nexus now.
Because now there's no more weapons available here, so this Nexus does go down. SpeCial with some non-stop aggression. Another Banshee in the main base as well.
Where's the observer?
Not sure where the observers are, but they're definitely not in the right place. And MaNa knows that he messed up a little bit there because he was technically in a great position, and now suddenly SpeCial still dealt the damage he was looking for, and even more Ravi with this Banshee.
Oh, this Banshee has done so much damage on top of sniping off that third base. MaNa has to do something here and now because he just lost a ton of his economy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do too much though, right? I think the best thing you can do is just economically try to recover. You sit back, take no more damage, because running to the other side of the map and losing the game is not the best option. Does he have, what did he do with his Twilight? Does he even have a Twilight at this point?
He does not, no.
Wow.
He did go for the Robotics Bay, and that's going to be finishing up in a moment, so we'll see if he decides to go in those Colossus or the Disruptors. Do you have a preference on this?
In this situation, I'd almost say Disruptor, even though he does have double forge. But it's really weird. I think that Twilight is late, though, because his +1 armor is going to be done before this Twilight is finishing up. And it feels really weird to be 8 minutes into a Protoss versus Terran when there is no blink and no charge. This is a very, very late Twilight console.
Well, Stim is only about halfway finished up, so maybe MaNa's going to have a little bit of time, and the Observer does get sniped off there, and a couple of Marauders being added into the mix now. We do have MaNa starting to build up that force, but is he going to be able to get up a big enough force in time to do something eventually?
And he's going to have to buy time as well, but if you don't have Blink Stalkers, it's always a little bit tough to buy time. But he is getting that second robotics facility. He's not going to go for Blink. It's going to go straight charge. So it's going to be Archons, excuse me, lots of Colossus from these two robotics facilities, and then a whole bunch of Zealots. But I think SpeCial is very happy with how this played out in the end. I'm sure he was worried in the first push when he didn't get that Nexus, but that other Banshee just set everything up. Not only did it do economic damage, it also allowed the next wave to run it to the other side of the map and actually get a very good fight and take care of the Nexus.
Oh, and MaNa really wants to get up to that magical 3 Colossus count, as well as those two upgrades, or I should say just +2 weapons, because he doesn't have +2 armor on the way just yet. But SpeCial is hitting at the perfect time where there's an investment to charge, +2 weapons, thermal lance. The Colossus count still building, but not quite at the critical mass, and this is when SpeCial is going to hit.
Yeah, SpeCial is going to try to deny Fort base, but that one doesn't exist yet. So we see our Terran player going up to 4 bases before MaNa could even dream about getting his Fort Nexus up and running. As we see a couple of medevacs there, there's a little bit of a dance. MaNa, this is a scary position. I think SpeCial's done a really good job in denying map vision as well. I love how they're both working on the rock.
Oh, if he puts the tanks on the other side of those cliffs, this is going to be really difficult to deal with because MaNa can't come in since the rocks have been knocked down. It's hard to come in from the other angle and kind of sandwich this army. So now the Marines and Marauders are free to move forward.
Yeah, this is very, very tough for MaNa. Thermal lens is about to finish up, but he's going to be very careful. That one Colossus is very exposed. It does not go down. Good save there.
Well,
but
shield battery helping out a lot there. There was a bit of counter damage over at the 4th base of SpeCial a moment ago. I'm not sure if it's still going on, but here we go. The Nexus is starting to get very low, and MaNa's just going to give it up.
There's nothing you can do with all those tanks in the back line. The Liberator is showing up as well. This is a very easy pickoff in the end for SpeCial. So now we're soon looking at a 4-base Terran against a 2-base Protoss. And this is just not MaNa's game at this point. I have no idea what he has to hope for. But this Terran army, I don't see any way how MaNa can crush it with the units that he's working with.
And MaNa's even at 134 supply. He's not making any more units. No more reinforcements going to be coming out until the next pylon finishes up, or he loses some supply. And SpeCial does him a favor, takes out a lot of that ground force. The Colossus is staying alive, but those Liberators are going to be difficult to deal with.
Yeah, the tanks are getting closer and closer towards that natural as well. These Immortals are eating a couple of very big shots. The Liberators are helping out. There is not much bio left, but it doesn't change anything because you still have to take care of the tanks and the Liberators.
Oh, there's nothing left. GG is called SpeCial. Going to be taking the first game in this best of 5.
What a crazy game. It really felt that MaNa had a super good start when he took care of that Banshee with the Phoenix and then he kept his Nexus alive. You're like, damn, MaNa's in a great position. But I really feel when he started the Observer out, he saw that second Banshee, but he didn't actually see it, didn't pay attention. that one Banshee, the second Banshee that showed up in the main base, that's the one that caught him off guard. It did some economic damage, pulled the army out of position, and then suddenly the next wave of units showed up, and from that point on, it really felt like it was all SpeCial, dictating the entire game, and MaNa just had no idea where to look.
I mean, I feel like that game is a really good encapsulation of what it means to be the aggressor, because you can have these kind of attacks, do little bits of damage, but not really be super successful. But then you have one big wave of aggression, and you can suddenly claim a massive lead, and it just overcomes all of the previous deficits, all the previous losses of those earlier Banshees, and all the other harassment that didn't work out.
And I like the very heavy tank play as well by SpeCial. Someone like MaNa who loves to go into those Colossus quite quickly, loves to get that big, powerful, strong Protoss army. That's tough, man. If you don't have a perfect start with that kind of a composition, then suddenly you have to go up against 4 or 5 siege tanks. And yes, Colossus are great against Marines, but they can't really stay in range of like 5 tanks because they will just disappear as well. So a beautiful game by SpeCial, a little bit unorthodox, not a playstyle that we see super often, because in general it feels weird and risky for Terran players to move out with Marines and tanks if you don't have stim, but he got the job done.
Did a very nice job. Now, MaNa is going to be moving on to the second map. It's going to be 16-bit, which is, funny enough, it's going to be his pick. I typically tend to think of this map as something that a lot of Terran players like for drop play and such, but how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there. There's a lot of airspace around the bases. We can talk a little bit more about the map, because as you guys can see, we're already loading into Game 2 of our second semifinals here at WCS Austin. As we're looking at the main base of the only Protoss to make it into the quarterfinals, and the only Protoss, of course, to make it into the semis as well. Representing Team Liquid, it is MaNa.
I always love when the Team Liquid players are spawning in blue. It always just feels right. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Terran player, the Mexican monster. It is SpeCial.
So to talk a little more about 16-bit, it is indeed kind of a unique map, because it has a pocket expand, and that's a real expand, guys. It's not one of those pocket expands where you have only one Vespian gas or there's only a couple of mineral patches. Nope, this is a real base. You get the same amount of resources from it as any other base, and it's also tough to scout in the main because obviously it's very easy to wall off in the front, and at one point you just can't really get into, so you'll see builds like a triple CC opening on this map. At the same time, you can also see weird stuff like maybe a Liberator range with a, advanced ballistics opening as well. Stuff like that can be a little bit tricky, and because this map in general is so macro oriented, a couple of the weird proxy builds can also be very strong because people just think, yes, it is a good map for drops, it is a good map for 3CCs or weird, very tech heavy openings, that sometimes players play a little too greedy, and then suddenly the cheese builds can be very powerful. So it's interesting and definitely plays out different than most of the maps in the current map pool.
Yeah, and are you thinking also the Protoss cheese builds, not just the Terran proxies and stuff, so proxy Stargates, etc.?
It's tough, I think, to cheese Terran on this map because it's so easy for them to still be mining from their natural, and as long as Terrans mine off their natural, most Terrans are okay with staying on 2 bases because most Protoss cheese builds will eventually fall off, and if you can just stabilize on a 2-base economy. So I don't think there's too much crazy stuff that MaNa can bust out here, but I'd love to be wrong.
Okay, well, first Stalker's going to get Chrono boosted out. The Reaper did spend a bit of time cleaning up that probe back at home for SpeCial, so Stalker should be able to get out in time to help deal with that. And I think that since there's no SCV sitting around inside of MaNa's base, yeah, there's none. He's going to feel safe planting down that Stargate nice and early on, and the Stalker can just focus on killing off that Reaper, not having to worry about losing a worker here.
Yeah,
like last game.
I don't think SpeCial wants to sacrifice the Reaper immediately, but it is interesting and worth noting that MaNa is one of the very few Protosses out there that opens up with the Stalker in this matchup. A lot of other Protosses prefer the Adept, so they can shade the Adept to the other side of the map, and they can see what the factory is doing, which kind of units it is producing, but MaNa is like, nah, I really can't be bothered with these Reapers, and obviously Stalkers are a little bit better against Reapers because they are faster and have more range.
Oh, okay. If that Reaper got out of there, that would not have been something MaNa wanted to have happen, as he did have a lock-on on it. But second Stalker also comes out. I really like your point. Yeah, a lot of Protoss players like those Adepts. It's also just nice for scouting information. But if you're going to go for the Stargate, I guess, a Phoenix coming out first.
Yeah, maybe worried about a couple of the weird factory builds that are possible. Now, obviously, Phoenixes are very good in shutting down this first drop. You can see MaNa, he's scouting as well. He's like, are you proxying a starport or anything like that? Which obviously can be powerful on a map like this, but That is not the case. As we can see, there is a starport very... Ooh. Okay, is that a...
Okay, that's an interesting position for that tech lab. That he's flying the starport all the way over there and throwing down the barracks over there. It does kind of feel like he just wants to get up stim, but it almost feels like he's hiding it to an extent.
I mean, maybe just a massive bio push, which is actually very good against Phoenix openings, especially against Phoenix openings with quick 3 bases. So maybe SpeCial's reading this game very well so far. I like this. I assume that he's going to switch his starport with that barracks in the back, and he's going to research Stim very quickly. MaNa, I don't know what he saw with that Phoenix. Can we take a look at real quick at MaNa's vision? Okay, he saw pretty much everything. I get a little bit scared when I see this. If I'm MaNa, I would throw down a robotics facility immediately, rush out Colossus, because Colossus can be good. And obviously with Colossus and shield batteries, a Guardian Shield Immortal, you can always stabilize on 3 bases. But I would be a little bit worried if my Phoenixes see what MaNa has just saw.
Yeah, one of the big powerful things is, I know, Roddy, you are in love with the Phoenix, you might say, but I've seen a lot of your stream, and I know that picking off the medevacs can also be really helpful in trying to slow down this push or really halt some of that aggression as we end up seeing another Phoenix being produced over here from MaNa. So what he's going to be able to do is with those Phoenix is really going to be critical for this kind of halting of the push.
I don't like the fact that he went Twilight and Forge before a robotics facility. Unless you want to go Phoenix Adept, I mean, maybe that's possible, or Phoenix Zealot, but it's very risky. One bad fight, and it's absolutely game over. MaNa's going to scout everything here. He's going to see that medevacs are most likely on the way. Stim is being researched. What is it going to be, charge or glaives? MaNa, if he goes blink, I think he's super dead, but he shouldn't go blink. Okay.
Charge and +1 armor.
That makes sense, but it's still going to get hard, though, because SpeCial's going to have a big bio army. Double Widow Mine is being produced as well. Ooh. I really like what SpeCial's doing here, and if I'm MaNa, I'm not truly feeling this, but I know that I'm still in it, as long as my execution is absolutely on point.
Okay, Phoenix is going to go after this Cyclone. There's not a whole lot of defenses even coming over here to help out. MaNa is just going to retreat back. He knows that there's a missile turret building up in that natural, and he knows that there's got to be the units somewhere out on the map.
This is crazy, though. I don't think he's expecting that. I think he expects SpeCial to wait for Stim, but SpeCial's like, I know where your Phoenixes are. He doesn't know about those. Did he Oh, he recalled the Phoenix.
Oh, this is so like he's going to be able to intercept this. Maybe he needs to be in position. The medevacs are boosting forward. How many units will unload? It looks like one of the medevacs gets sniped off with 4 Marines still left inside. The second medevac gets sniped off. There's no more potential for healing, but the probes are somewhat trapped.
Yeah, a lot of probes will go down, but that's still 2 medevacs and a whole bunch of Marines, which makes the next push a lot weaker. Guardian Shield will protect the Phoenixes a little bit. Yes, probes have gone down, but this worked out great for MaNa. Can we just confirm? Did MaNa use recall, right? I'm not crazy. The Phoenixes were on the south side of the map.
Let me check. Recall is on cooldown.
Yeah. That's a sick move, because I don't think he saw those medevacs leave, and it was a really weird moment for those medevacs to leave, because Stim wasn't done yet, but he just felt it. He's like,
there's nothing coming in to defend the cycle.
Yeah, he's like, why is this so easy? That must mean that you're getting ready to drop me. That was a sick play, but he's not out of the woods yet, because he did lose a couple units, and obviously he lost a couple probes as well.
Okay, third base is only just now finishing up here for SpeCial. So if MaNa can hold on and continue this kind of nice defensive play, then he's going to be in a good spot. But SpeCial coming in with round 2, moves forward with 4 Marines, snipes off the probe that was scouting forward. He sees the shield batteries, he sees the cannons, and a couple of these Phoenix moving forward. You got to be careful not to lose those.
Wow, he doesn't lose any of them. That was a very risky pickoff.
Heals it back up too.
Because SpeCial just lost 60 Marines. This push is nowhere near as scary as it normally is. So MaNa is going to couple of...
Okay, 6 workers, 12 workers, 13 workers, pretty bad damage. MaNa is going to be able to snag the medevac as well as the Widow Mine and the Marines on this side of the map. Was that too much damage, though?
That was a lot of probes, but obviously losing the entire army is bad. But SpeCial is up to 3 bases as well. SpeCial being economically ahead is always awesome. But against a Zealot Phoenix composition, you want to get a big ball of bio units out. And as long as SpeCial keeps losing his entire army, as this medevac will get spotted as well, I mean, it's very back and forth. SpeCial is definitely dealing proper economic damage, but when it comes to the armies, he's kind of dragging this game out, and that means that MaNa at least will be able to get out those Colossus that I think he wants to get out.
Yeah, with how many medevacs MaNa's been able to snipe off. Oh, okay, yeah, I could feel that with the second Robo coming on out. These 2 Widow Mines looking to get some damage. He scans ahead. That sometimes is a bit of a reveal, but MaNa maybe taking the wrong bait and actually ends up moving away from that base. He does have a good reaction, though. Only loses a single probe. Yep, second Widow Mine goes down as well.
Now the Ghost Academy is already being thrown down. Obviously, EMP is fantastic against Phoenixes, is fantastic against Zealots as well. SpeCial is just non-stop dropping. He's just throwing away medevacs left and right, but he did have some success with it. But I do think that MaNa now with that second forge as well, if MaNa can get up to a bunch of Colossus, it's like, all right, we've got a game on our hands. It was a very explosive start. It was a little bit of a crazy start. But it seems like this game is somewhat stabilizing as we even see the second starport being thrown down already for SpeCial.
Yeah, and of course, when you're the aggressor, you oftentimes also get to see everything going on inside your opponent's main base and natural expansion. So it seems like SpeCial's caught on to the fact that Colossus production may be a potential. He's started up on that Viking production, and like you said, that second starport. War Prism going to be coming forward while the Phoenix try and poke it at the front. He pulls the bio all the way out to the front while the Zealots get to warp in and start dealing some damage in that third.
Yeah, that's nice. Finally doing some economic damage on the other side of the map. The 7 SCVs have already gone down. A few more. You're going to get a Widow Mine for your efforts as well. Now we have a couple of Colossus out, but he's also getting Disruptors. At the same time, SpeCial is going to go for another drop. He has 2 Widow Mines, I believe, inside of this medevac. No, those are Marauders. Okay, it's a full bio drop.
Well, Stalkers almost managed to snipe off that medevac. It will eventually go down, I assume, thanks to the Phoenix being out around the map, and there it goes down anyways. Bio gets cleaned up. Not super effective drop there from SpeCial, but he's poking forward. He's keeping MaNa on his toes.
Yep, and it's also very annoying when the Phoenixes keep having to go back to your side of the map because then you can't find those idle SCVs. SpeCial has done a good job in still getting out a proper army, but if you look at MaNa's army, now this looks like a real Protoss army at this point. You know, there's a single Colossus. He has double Forge on the way, a couple of Disruptors, and we all know how difficult it is to attack into Disruptors. It's already hard to defend against them, but attacking into Disruptors, that's where things become very complicated.
+2/+2 is a really long way off for SpeCial, whereas MaNa is about to get his +3 armor very soon, as well as +1 weapons now just finishing up. SpeCial is going to go into the... Oh my god, that's a ballsy maneuver, but it's going to pay off, it looks like, as he catches MaNa totally out of position. The medevacs are going to get sniped off, but at what cost?
Yeah, these units are obviously committed to the cause at this point. Vikings are going to show up as well, a little bit of protection. This Nexus may actually go down as these Vikings are going to take care of a couple of the Phoenixes as well. MaNa's army is still just standing there. At least a lot of it is still standing on the low ground.
I think he wants to try and catch the medevacs when they retreat out, but he already sniped off 2 of them, so there's still some bio just kind of committed there. Oh man, it looks like SpeCial is just going to continue to commit. He stims forward, snipes off, just another probe. And I think that this should be the end of the drop aggression they can accomplish. Oh, the Stalkers are starting to go down here.
Yeah, no blink yet, so that makes it very hard for MaNa to save those Stalkers against these Marauders with concussive shells as well. Vikings go forward. I mean, fantastic drop by SpeCial. Really not easy to drop a Protoss that has 6 or 7 Phoenixes out on the map, but SpeCial is finding openings. Very well done.
Okay, but now we hit the point where MaNa is going to have +3 armor versus +1 weapons for another minute or 2. So MaNa may want to try and make use of the timing. He's starting to move out across the map, and with that upgrade advantage, his units are just not going to be dying very quickly.
Yeah, he's going to try to deny this fort base. He's like, all right, I've been taking quite a bit of economic damage, and I just lost my pocket expand as well. It's time that I...
Oh! Big connections with the first couple of Disruptors. And he just recalls out. I actually really like this decision, and he gets out without losing anything, but this one sentry kind of gets left behind.
But in the end, it will get tagged by this one Marauder.
Is it survive?
No, sentry is going to go down. A little bit trigger happy there by MaNa. I mean, that looked cool and it was explosive, but I think if he gets himself in a better position, there's a good chance that he can prevent that planetary fortress from finishing up, and then he can start applying some real pressure, and it's very hard for SpeCial to truly deal with those Disruptors if he doesn't have advanced ballistics on his Liberators. So I think MaNa was a little trigger happy there, could have got more done. But I also like the decision to recall out afterward. Oh, there's a full medevac.
Oh,
the Stalkers.
No. Are they going to blink forward? The Liberators are also sieging up fairly late. The Disruptors preventing the bio from getting into position.
Wow.
And MaNa, he's fighting against the planetary fortress. That is the one saving grace here for SpeCial. And it seems like that is going to be enough to snipe him back and push back those Colossus as well.
SpeCial lost a lot of very expensive units there, though. A couple medevacs went down, one even full bio units, and multiple Liberators went down as well. I'd really love to see a fusion core. I know that's scary to throw it down when you're under pressure, when your opponent is knocking on your front door, trying to kill your planetary fortress, but I really feel that advanced ballistics is the answer against all these disruptors.
Oh boy, as we said, our wonderful observer in Sino show as the natural expansion looks a little barren there for MaNa as the drops are going to be coming on in. There's nothing here to defend a single Stalker weapon. Is that going to be enough? But the disruptor shots are pretty fantastic.
No.
Are they going to be enough though? The disruptors are all getting taken out.
Okay, that was not a very successful attack for MaNa, and obviously he's taking a lot of damage at home once again. This drop by SpeCial is fantastic. Once again, he's going to be able to take care of this Nexus. Disruptors and Zealots show up, but they have a hard time taking care of Medivacs.
Oh, almost gets a snipe off on some of those stray Medivacs, and we end up seeing the Medivacs in the natural expansion still continuing to pick off workers, still continuing to deny that inner natural base. Liberators sieging up, and MaNa really wants to be able to get some damage on after taking so much, and he gets it with the army. He's just not really getting in the economy ever.
No, he doesn't know about his 5th base, right? He can easily cancel it as his Medivacs is still annoying on the other side of the map. MaNa to the left. Okay, as he blinks, he gets one Medivac and gets a little bit of damage on the other one. If he can just get that 5th base, that's something. He does have a Warp Prism with his push now. That makes it a lot more scary for his SpeCial. I love how SpeCial still distracting him. Widowmine connects with these disruptors. That's kind of cute.
It does a little bit of damage. 4 Stalkers.
He didn't see it.
Yeah, he never moved over to that far left-hand center base, so he never got to deny that, even though he had a golden opportunity to. Looks like those units in that base will eventually get cleaned up. 3-3 finally getting started up over here for SpeCial, and still no +3 weapons coming out from MaNa, although he's not really, he is resuming the Colossus production now, so it would not be the worst thing to get.
A little scrappy, low eco game almost now, even though both of them have 60 workers, but we're used to seeing more, and if they would be at 60 workers, they should at least be maxed out and have money in the bank, but they have been trading back and forth, a lot of expensive units going down as well. That sensor tower is up, it's gonna reveal the movement of the army of MaNa. All these Liberators are gonna siege up as well, and MaNa, if you ever watch his replay, he's like, I really wish I would have just canceled that 5th base. That would have really made my life a lot better.
Oh man, Vikings landed on the ground because they know no more Colossus out with this army as of right now. Stalkers blink forward. The repair on this planetary fortress is going to be difficult to deal with. The disruptor shots trying to zone out the bio, but MaNa just does not quite have what he needs to try and take out that base.
MaNa's had some fantastic hits on his disruptors, but he's also a little bit trigger happy. Multiple times he shoots out multiple Purifier Novas at once that all whiff.
DMP gets the Immortal in a handful. The Stalker is softening them up a little bit.
Do you think he has only like 1 shot?
Oh,
2 shots?
no, he has a couple shots, and they are good enough to clean up a majority of the bio. Clean up almost all of the bio. Like you said, the disruptor shots really keeping MaNa in a nice spot in this game, but now this base is so important for MaNa.
Yep, there's no pylon here, but a couple of Zealots and the Colossus are going to try to save the day. 5 probes once again go down.
Oh, he finds the
Stalker's
Liberators! And the Liberators getting taken out one by one. Now the planetary fortress is barren. SCVs, you don't get a chance to repair with the disruptors here. And finally, MaNa gets some counteractive damage to the economy of SpeCial.
Wow, some sick moves after some great disruptor hits where SpeCial obviously chased a little too far up that ramp before, lost almost all of his bio. Focused on the drop on the right side. MaNa swings around and attacks those Liberators from behind. That was a sick move, and now suddenly MaNa's running away with this game. Takes a massive army advantage. What a game.
I mean, he's been consistently able to get these amazing disruptor shots and take out the army of SpeCial, but it's the fact that he finally also got the economic damage done. Now he's taken both the economic and army advantage, and he's looking maybe for the kill here. He's got a single Colossus and a handful of those magical disruptors he's been utilizing, but SpeCial is not going to give up yet. He has a couple of these Liberators sieged out, but once again, the disruptors zone out the bio. The Liberators get taken out.
MaNa just doesn't care. Upper ramp near a planetary. It's like, I know you just did some great damage, but that's a little bit ambitious, MaNa. And I think now he realizes as well. He's got some minerals in the bank, so he can warp in a bunch of Zealots if he wants. During all of this, he did get a fleet beacon, by the way. I think he's very worried about an insane amount of Liberators, but there is still no fusion core. And as long as there's no Liberator range, I don't think you have to worry that much about Liberators, because you should be able to take care of it with gateway units.
Yeah, as we end up seeing small little skirmishes still happening in the middle of the map. MaNa blinking forward, trying to get as much of this bio as possible. It's so funny. MaNa also has that natural in base he can retake because he's had it denied so many times. It actually has a lot of resources left over, especially compared to SpeCial, but SpeCial getting ready to drop it once again, so maybe it's not the wisest decision.
Does MaNa have all of his simulators up and running at this point? It felt like his gas income was a little slow for a while because he never had any gas.
So he's had him taken out quite a few times, even in the natural, and seems like he's not mining for that base, that low ground base yet.
which is why he's floating minerals and he doesn't have enough gas, especially if you want to produce Colossus and Disruptors and a bunch of Stalkers. You definitely need to take those gases.
Yeah, the charge lots are awesome, but they really do start to suffer when you have a few too many of them. And well, SpeCial might come in and harass this base, and funny enough, this sometimes is exactly what you need to see, oh wait, I didn't have 3 workers on each one of these gas geysers, so this might actually help MaNa fix the problem.
Yep, this is also what MaNa was talking about his own gameplay. He says, like, I'm feeling that I play so much better than I used to, but I'm still a little bit sloppy. I have a lot of idle workers, sometimes bases are not properly saturated, and that's the fun part when you watch MaNa. Fantastic Protoss player, but it always feels like there is still room for improvement as well.
SpeCial has a large amount of his force over on the far right-hand side. If MaNa finds an opportunity to jump in over here, do some damage, and then maybe he might actually even have to recall for this. Oh, he's just gonna run back.
And that might actually be the end of this Nexus, and that's painful.
This is an important base. There is also another drop that's happening, but MaNa is a bit more prepared for that one. He has a Colossus, a couple Stalkers. Colossus taking some big damage, and the Marauders is going to go down. And beautiful pickoff from SpeCial.
SpeCial's playing sick at this point. It really felt like he was almost down and out. He was down 50-60 army supply. Now MaNa did make that very ambitious move up the ramp into the Liberators. He fights these medevacs with the Stalkers.
Roddy, why the caster curse? And SpeCial manages to keep 3 of the medevacs alive, but loses one of them that had all of the units inside of it.
Look at that Phoenix, by the way. That Phoenix is marching to the other side of the map in the middle. It's gonna
It's a coming.
No, the Vikings is gonna save the medevacs.
Oh no, it's an attack move! Oh.
That's cute.
Okay, well, these Bioforce is going to get stopped. The Vikings going to obliterate that Colossus. The Disruptors can still get some damage on 2 shots going off. He still has 3 left over.
At least now these medevacs are free again in the bottom side of the map. Liberators get taken out.
Zealot's actually dying to one of those Disruptor shots, but now MaNa is still going to be able to claim victory in the engagement in the center of the map. The problem is on the right-hand side. His Nexus gets canceled. These probes going to get denied from that very important expansion.
Getting some Bolt vibes over here with the amount of Nexus that SpeCial has sniped in this game. What a nice back and forth game.
Zealots. There's so many Zealots ready to deal with that medevac, but just a couple of Phoenix or Stalkers or something. MaNa needs that gas income to start making some units that can deal with all these medevacs.
Did he fix his assimilators at least at the days below his
I sure hope so.
Yes, okay.
Okay, yes. But he still is just lacking bases straight up to actually mine gas off of, so it's still a big gas problem.
And I mean, the sickest thing that SpeCial has achieved with this non-stop aggression is that now he has his 5th base up and running again, and he's even taking a 6th base as MaNa once again gets a forward blink, gets the Liberator. This base is not even no cancel, I believe, on that one, right?
Yeah, the best defense is an offense, says SpeCial, as he keeps all of his bases alive through the offense, but MaNa has had enough, and he's moving across the map. He's getting right in SpeCial's face. Disruptor is getting a little vulnerable, but so does the Bio.
There's multiple fights happening all over the place. MaNa has to be careful that he doesn't connect those Purifying Nova with his own unit.
But this is turning into a weird base trade, and the Disruptors are starting to go down. MaNa, he's taken some good Disruptor hits in the past, but he's losing his whole army, and he's losing a lot of his economy back at home as well.
He does get an Orbital, but at the cost of almost his entire army. So many Disruptors go down, the Stalkers go down. SpeCial's gonna take care of this Nexus with those Marauders, I believe, as well. What a sick game here by SpeCial. It definitely hasn't won it yet, but man, wow. He was down 60 supply, Fear Dragon.
MaNa has 40 workers, but I don't think he even has 40 mineral patches worth of money. Look at the oversaturation there. This just goes to show you how desperate MaNa is for that income. Every single unit, every one of the Disruptors is going to be so valuable. He needs hyper cost-efficient trades from here on out.
I'd love to see him send a couple of Zealots to that left top side, as SpeCial once again is going to try to hit from multiple angles. This is a fight that's a lot of Marauders.
Oh, I mean, look at that army. It's so stimmed to death.
Can we is that a planetary on the left top side, or is it an orbital?
It's nothing. It's neither.
Okay. Well, that would be a great opportunity for MaNa to get rid of some of those Zealots and just send them in.
It's turning into a planetary now, I believe, as the production tab does show. So MaNa maybe has an opportunity to move across the map now that he's finally not under attack. But I mean, that's also hard to call for him to make because he doesn't have the infinite map vision that we do. That army is so stimmed to death. If MaNa can capitalize on this moment, this one opportunity,
he needs to scout that base. I mean, there's like, oh, the SCPs are going to reveal it. And now at this point, MaNa's like, whoa, you've got a surprise for me up there? Yes, I do.
Planetary's not done. Planetary is not done. He can move in right before Fish is up. He gets the snipe up. Disruptor shots can now move forward and zone out this army. He has to do a good job of this engagement. It's critical for MaNa.
Trader SCVs. One of the best games of the tournament so far, if you ask me. A lot of big shots of these Disruptors before. These ones kind of whiff, but MaNa still has an army that is so hard to engage. One of the hardest things for Terran is to chase an army that has Disruptors.
And the Disruptor's doing a lot over here. The Liberator's still a bit of a scary prospect here for MaNa, who only has about 6 Stalkers remaining and maybe an Archon or 2. So if any one of these get picked off by so many Marauders in SpeCial's army.
More units coming from the right side for MaNa as well. Those are just Stalkers.
Actually, kind of the Stalkers getting vulnerable, but the Zealots charge forward. Disruptor's not quite close enough to start landing their shots, but they get right up in the face of SpeCial, and it looks like SpeCial's going to be losing his whole army here.
I think that's going to be it. MaNa's going to chase these Medivacs down as well. GG! MaNa wins a fantastic game 2 here in our second semifinals. Damn, what a game!
Both of those players played out of their mind that game at different points. Both of those players put it all on the line, and MaNa finally walks away with victory. Those Disruptor shots, Roddy, they're coming back, man.
A couple of great hits indeed. SpeCial, I must say, did a phenomenal job in almost pulling that game back. He was all over the place, dropping multiple locations at once, picking off base after base. But MaNa never truly, like, he lost bases, but he never lost all his probes. And that's the most important thing. As long as you keep those probes alive, you can always rebuild one of your bases. And the moment you still have those probes, you saturate it, then he has that income again immediately. And I'm a little bit surprised that SpeCial never got a fusion core, never got Liberator range. But on the other hand, I can understand it as well, because this was a very, very action-packed game with non-stop trades. And Liberator range is one of those upgrades where if both armies just look at each other from far away, it's like, all right, if you wait, I'll wait, then I'll get it. But SpeCial, he decided to just be hyper-aggressive, and he definitely found a lot of success with his drops. MaNa was starting to fall apart a little bit, but he was never completely down and out.
Yeah, I really like your point about just keeping those probes alive, and it goes back to that resilience that he had. You can only be resilient if you're able to say, and I guess make the cuts that you need and say, okay, this Nexus is gone, but I'm going to keep at least something here. And just kind of cutting your losses is such a difficult thing to do in such a scrappy, tense situation like this. It just takes so much strategical prowess to be able to predict and say, this is what I need to do right now.
Yep. I think it was so cool to see how effective SpeCial was with a lot of those drops, but when it came to the bigger engagements, sometimes it felt it was a little bit sloppy. Like sometimes Liberators were not sieged, sometimes the Vikings went a little bit too far forward.
I feel like a little bit more one-sided in terms of MaNa typically taking those engagements a little bit more in his favor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping on to game number 3 in this hype series in the semifinals of WCS Austin, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Our blue Protoss player from Team Liquid, he is MaNa.
And on the right top side of Lost and Found, we're looking at the last Terran player in this tournament. He is looking for his first WCS Finals. Make some noise for SpeCial.
Got a lot of fans from both sides in that audience. We've got that, of course, very, very close series. And I like what you said. I think that was definitely one of the best games we've seen all week.
I think it was the best game. At least on stage. I'm sure there were a couple
on stage, of course. But I'm hoping that we might see some more awesome StarCraft. That last game, 16-bit, very action-packed map, with the in-base natural being a critical point for MaNa. But this is a bit of a different map. How are you feeling about Lost and Found for Game 3?
I think this is one of these maps that has already been embraced by all the pro gamers. It's like, yeah, this map is actually not too crazy. I like it. It's not ultra large, but it's not silly small either. We can play a regular build, and it just comes down to who executes better, who plays better, not too many gimmicks. So it's not one of the most exciting maps ever when it comes to design, but it, creates proper games, and this is the kind of map that the pro gamers love. It's like, yep, we like it, we look at it, it's normal, let's play some StarCraft.
Yeah, and that's really cool that there's that variety of possibilities on these kind of maps. And I think it is going to be something that MaNa may be a little bit happier about, playing on a map that he has a lot of potential to do stuff on, but okay.
This is funny. Yeah, MaNa's doing this. He did this like 3 times in a row against Hero Marine in the recent tournament that I just casted online. Kept opening up with the Zealot, and then he follows it up with the Stalker. But SpeCial saw that Zealot, I believe, so the Reapers look...
Is the Reaper avoiding this? I thought the Reaper was looking for the Zealot, but it almost felt like he was avoiding it.
Yeah, maybe he lost track of it, but I mean, as long as he finishes up that command center on the low ground, then SpeCial's gonna be fine. He can dance back and forth a little bit, and then single Cyclone is gonna take care of this. You could go for Hellions, which is a little bit risky, because obviously Hellions don't do well against Stalkers. But MaNa is expanding behind this, so there's obviously not all-in or anything silly like that. But I think SpeCial is fine here. As long as he can finish up that command center, he's got a Marine behind this as well. That SCV is low on HP, but that command center will finish up.
Yeah, Zealot and Stalker can still be sort of annoying here on the low ground, but they shouldn't be able to do too much. Maybe pick off a Marine if SpeCial's not especially careful. I am a little bit surprised that SpeCial didn't move all the way into the main base of MaNa to try and go for the Scout, because he would have seen the Stargate, and there weren't any gateway units out behind this, because, well, the Stalker and the Zealot are on this side of the map.
I can understand it, though, because the moment you see the Zealot Stalker, it's like, all right, first things first, let's take care of this, because that can spiral out of control incredibly quick. At this point, he knows he's safe. He doesn't need the Reaper at home anymore. Now he's going to use that Reaper for a Scout. Maybe get a probe as well. Small misfire there. As you guys can see, he fired at the Nexus, but he still gets at least one probe, and he's going to be able to get the second one as well. Look at this Reaper getting some serious damage done and getting a perfect Scout of all these gateways and the Stargate. Can the Reaper get one more?
Oh, no. MaNa is not going to be happy about that one. 3 kills total, and even, okay, almost makes his way back in the main base. Not that anything has really changed, but Oracle going to be popping on out, and he's going to make his way across the map.
Look at that bunker. A very, very smart bunker there by SpeCial. He knows that if you spot a Stargate and 3 gateways, it can be a defensive play from Protoss, but at the same time, some of these Protoss players, they like to open up with some Oracles, and then suddenly 5 or 6 Stalkers show up as well, because obviously there's no ramp going into the natural here. So it's really important that you get a bunker, that you stay safe until you have some real power units or plenty of bio units to deal with Protoss aggression.
Yeah, double Cyclone going to be enough to ward off that Oracle initially, at least. There's also that proxy pylon that you were talking about, Roddy, where you end up seeing some potential for some Protoss aggression.
Did MaNa see the bunker with his Oracles? Yeah,
yes.
So even if he had any intentions of wiping in a bunch of Stalkers on the other side of the map, he's like, if you've got a bunker, I better not, because then I'm really having or putting some serious commitment to this aggression, which will most likely not be super successful. So he's just gonna back off, expand, has no idea about these Cloak Banshees though.
Yeah, kind of funny enough though, luckily for MaNa, he hasn't really spent too much of the energy from these Oracles just yet, so he is going to have some of that Revelation energy available for at least a little bit if he doesn't find a massive opportunity to go ham on some Marines, or even just throw down a Revelation on some of the units there. That's fine, he still has that second Oracle as well.
I have the feeling that was a pretty decent supply block by SpeCial. It really felt like it took a while before he was finally able to produce units again. As you can see, he's floating a little bit of minerals as well. But he's getting up to 3 bases. These Banshees have still not been detected, but there is an observer out. And you made a very valid point there about the Oracles. Plenty of energy available, but at the end of the day, they still need to be in the right position. The Stalkers need to be in the right position as well. And with the start that MaNa had, he's in no position to end up losing a bunch of, oh my goodness, 3 Oracles.
Oh, well, the Cyclones have used their lock-on already, so it's going to take a little while before they can do some more damage. He goes after the weakened Oracle, but just not enough. Nice pickoffs there from MaNa, but he doesn't have the Oracles back at home. The Observer has popped out, though, and MaNa is safe as... No, he's very safe.
Safe as what, Ravi? Why don't you tell us how safe he is? That's actually sick. It really felt like he just knew it was Cloak Banshees. Well, he never truly got in, but maybe he just saw everything that was going on in the main base, and he's like, you know what? It would make a lot of sense for this to be Cloak Banshee opening. So, well done. That's absolutely what MaNa needed. SpeCial moves out there, and this is different than... It's a little similar to what we saw on Dreamcatcher, but it's obviously later, and it's because he has 3 command centers as well, but I'm not sure how I feel about this push against 3 Oracles. I mean, if he gets missile turrets up, and then it can maybe work.
I guess MaNa didn't notice the Banshee, the little shimmer of the Banshee as it walked past his Oracles, and now the bunkers are going on up. The Stalkers are moving up to the north side to try and deal with this push, while the Oracles and the Phoenix try and deal with the Banshee.
Once again, SpeCial is able to sneak an almost entire army to the other side of the map that doesn't have stim. There are no medevacs here, but somehow all these units show up. The bunkers will create a little bit of a choke point as well. Is the Marine count high enough, though? I'm not sure how much energy there's left. No, it's not high enough.
MaNa just cleans up this push. The Siege Tank still somehow manages to stay alive a little bit longer, but it is going to go down to these Oracles. Nexus doesn't even lose that many hit points, and it looks like the 2 SCVs that were building the bunkers go down.
Another Cloak Banshee is going to show up as well. These Cloak Banshees were very effective on Dreamcatcher, but it seems that MaNa has learned from his mistakes, has plenty of observers. Of course, SpeCial is, like I said, he's on 3 bases behind all of this, so he's got a strong economy. But I feel that SpeCial did just give up a lot of momentum, because if you lose all those Marines and you lose those tanks, it's like, all right, let's take a minute here. Let's wait until we get Stim. From this point on, there really isn't much that SpeCial can do other than be annoying with this single Banshee that he has out on the map.
Yeah, and even this Banshee is going to go down. And you look at that push, the units that MaNa lost are things more like maybe a Stalkers, some Zealots here and there. He doesn't lose his Oracles. He doesn't lose things like the Phoenix or even the Immortals or anything else. No high-tech units really went down there for MaNa.
And now, SpeCial has actually no idea about this army. Charge is halfway done. The MaNa's getting a Prism as well. I'm starting to get a little bit worried here for our Mexican Terran player, because that base is very exposed. Yes, there are a couple of tanks, but tanks are not fantastic against Zealots, especially not if they are exposed, and there is no Sim City going there. Stim is only halfway done.
Combat shields or Stim with those Oracles. He can draw a lot of the Marines up into the main base while he pushes in over the third. The Siege Tanks are completely vulnerable here, Roddy. There's nothing here to defend them as the Zealots get in on top of everything.
The bio units still don't have Stim, and that just makes this a very awkward scenario. Combat shield is about to finish up, but 12 SCVs go down. He picked off a couple of tanks as well, and I don't think MaNa's done yet. I mean, he's at 2-2 upgrades on the way. Storm is on the way. He's probably looking at that little move out like, hey, pretty good by me. Let's back off. Let's get some more units. I know I've got momentum on my side. This game went well for me.
Not bad. Are those Oracles still alive? Can we get a check from our...
Single Oracle, I believe.
Oh, no, he actually ended up losing both of them in the main base, but still did a lot of damage in the meanwhile. A lot of Zealots here, and like you said, not only Charge going to be done for this one, but it looks like Stim is going to be finished up on SpeCial's side. +2/+2, a little bit further away, so MaNa's not going to have it in time for this follow-up aggression.
Yeah, you don't want to attack with your Zealots into that Sim City that SpeCial got up now with these bunkers, with these supply depots as well. But MaNa's going up to 4 bases behind this. He has an upgrade advantage, or at least soon, because 2-2 upgrades are about to finish up. And he's going to get Storm as well. I'm really liking this for MaNa, but SpeCial has shown us that he can absolutely make comebacks happen in this matchup, because he is fantastic with his Medivacs.
Yeah, SpeCial also needs to start up his own 2-2 since he just finished up that armory but a few seconds ago. And okay, War Prism put up with some High Templars, and Storm is about to finish up. Roddy, this is going to get a little bit dangerous for SpeCial.
Yep, I'm not sure if he's expecting Storm already as well, because this has obviously been a little bit of a wonky game as well with a lot of trades. His Prism, no!
Oh, you have no idea. Oh, he loses the High Templars and the War Prism, but a big Storm does land on the army. But that's another big anti-armor missile. SpeCial walks away with that victory there.
Wow, he steps forward. He's going to be able to get that Immortal as well. The Sentry, the final High Templar gets picked off as well. MaNa just lost a War Prism with 3 High Templars that were all able to storm. And now he may pay the price with his 4th base as well, where it looks like everything was going MaNa's way. He made a massive mistake on the same map. I feel like I've seen this before. Beyond versus Stats, anyone? It's like exactly the same.
Oh, no. Now here's the lift up into the main base. Okay, you're going to have to back off. And now feedbacks. Okay, now I guess the High Templars the Medivacs don't have enough energy for that to really be too critical. MaNa is going to somehow manage to stay alive here, but he lost an important base.
He lost a base that he really didn't have to lose either. I mean, that was a very winnable fight. If those High Templars are on the ground, there is no chance that SpeCial wins that fight. Now, MaNa is not down and out. He has that upgrade advantage. He can obviously retake that Nexus. SpeCial wasn't on 4 bases yet, but he gave away a lot of momentum.
Well, he's going to be able to snipe off this 4th base with Charge, doing a lot of damage to that command center. Forces out the cancel. This army never got a chance to heal back up. It was so stimmed to death from before, and now these High Templars are not getting sniped off in a War Prism anytime soon. The Storm blankets the army, and there is a little bit here for SpeCial. Is it going to be enough, though?
He has those 2 Medivacs with bio units on the other side of the map, but it seems like he needs them at home. Feedback did a lot of damage to one of these Medivacs, but it's still alive. A little bit of money in the bank for SpeCial as well. This drop could very well be successful, but does he have anything to clean up all these Zealots?
Follow-up warping of Zealots is going to be devastating here, but these Zealots are warped in offensively. He has a couple of these Zealots warped in defensively as well as those High Templars. A couple of feedbacks to take out those Medivacs on the other side of the map, and he's just going to go for the Storm. He takes out one, and he is going to be able to defend here with the cannons.
15 SCVs have gone down. That bunker is going to get picked off as well. Zealots are about to show up in the natural. The first Liberators are finally out. There isn't too much anti-air here, so the Archon will win that fight, but should not get in range of the other one. But now Stalkers are showing up as well, and things are starting to look worse and worse for SpeCial.
Yeah, SpeCial's going to finish up that upgrade from the Armory, but he's going to be losing it. All the SCVs over by his third base in exchange. Liberator's in a really, really nice spot. Makes it awkward for these Stalkers to deal with, and he's getting some really good damage done, but he's also just taking so much. MaNa, he was on the verge. Okay, well, he stops. These Immortals. Okay, they're going to start fighting, and I think that MaNa's still okay even after losing those Immortals, but man, he was in such a rough spot after losing all those High Templars, but he has managed to turn this back around.
Upgrades are a very good thing to have on your units. He picks up that Orbital. He has killed a lot of SCVs as well. And SpeCial is going to try to pick up a couple of these Stalkers. Gets maybe the Prism. No, he does not. For MaNa, there's no need to run into these Liberators. He very well maybe could, but he can also just go home and actually enjoy the massive economic advantage. But he just wants to win it here, Fear Dragon.
Liberators all getting taken out. The Zealots are biding time. The Stalkers are AFKing, and now they're going to be backing up, but it just seems like SpeCial is running out of steam. He's running out of juice. Even his medevacs are out of juice, out of health, and out of the game. GG, MaNa takes game number 3. Goes up 2-1 in this series. Holy cow, Roddy.
Where is this coming from, MaNa? Why haven't you shown any of this in 2017 or even in Leipzig as well? Just out of nowhere, we are getting glimpses of the MaNa that made it to the finals of the WCS Season 3 in 2015, to MaNa that won ESWC in the early days, that won a DreamHack in his prime as well. And now he's one map away from making it to the finals of WCS Austin 2018. It is such a typical MaNa series though, because MaNa is such a bizarre Protoss. You look at it and he does so many things right, but then he also has like a couple of like moments where you're like, what on earth are you doing? Like he just lost that Prism. He seems sloppy, he seems scrappy, but at the same time, he always makes stuff happen, and he's really good at turning things around as well.
He is so good at turning things around. It's like Pig says, every time you think that you are behind or MaNa's getting behind, he's actually just on the verge of turning it back around in his favor. And now SpeCial is going to be the one that has to try and find a way to turn it back around in his favor, because he's sitting at match point. He was so close. This is the guy that everyone was saying he deserves to get to the finals. He's going to make that big one. He's going to win a tournament. And he's so close, but he's about to fall short.
He's been so close so many times. He made it to the semifinals of the global finals last year at BlizzCon. He made it to the semifinals at multiple WCS stops as well. And we're all waiting for that moment when SpeCial will finally make that appearance in the finals and maybe take home that championship as well. And I really think he came in as a pretty hot favorite in the semifinals. And it's not over yet, but suddenly MaNa takes a 2-1 lead as we are loading into what I believe is Acid Plant, looking at that minimap for game number 4.
We are going to be starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. The blue Protoss player from Team Liquid at match point. He is MaNa.
And on the left top side of Acid Plant, I'm sure there are plenty of Terran players in this audience. Guys, make some noise for SpeCial.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome the viewers from the World of Warcraft AWC Summer Cup who just joined us and enjoy some awesome StarCraft. You guys picked the best possible series in this tournament so far to have joined us. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we do.
Don't jinx it. In before Zealot Stalker wins the game.
You know what, Roddy? Even if that happens, I feel like this is still one of the best series of StarCraft I've seen in a while.
No, it's been really good, especially I think the game on 16-bit was absolutely spectacular. And that previous game was cool as well. I don't really understand that first big move out. We can talk a little bit about Lost and Found while this game is starting up, and MaNa once again is going to do that Zealot Stalker opening. But I didn't really understand why SpeCial, when he had 3 CCs, he went for that Marine tank move out, but his Marine count wasn't that high. And that's why I said, like, this could maybe work if he builds like 2 missile turrets, but he went for the bunkers. And yes, it created a choke point, but in the end, he simply didn't have enough anti-air. And I really felt it put him behind, because even though he's got a great economy going for himself on the other side of the map, he had nothing else. He had no army, no stim, everything was delayed. And MaNa just looked at it, he's like, oh, couple free tanks, couple SCVs, and suddenly he was pretty far ahead. And he was able to get away with a mistake, like losing that prison with 3 High Templars inside of it, because of the great position he put himself in before that.
Okay, well, he's going for that Zealot and manages to evade the SCV this time. So he might be able to get a bit more damage done with that Zealot. Stalker getting Chrono boosted out. SCV moves forward. The Reaper is over here. He's suddenly going to realize, oh, that is a sick wall off right there.
Yeah, no, actually he eats his own grenade as well.
Oh.
But now the Zealot is going to be very annoying on the other side of the map. I know there is a Marine. Don't lose that Reaper special.
Oh!
Ravi, I would have blamed you for all of this.
Okay, well, the SCV is also low on hit points from the probe harassment, so he's going to have to run that around, but that's going to buy time for the Stalker to get across the map. You mentioned that one Marine, but a Zealot has the same movement speed as a Marine, so he's got to use the SCVs to block. This is really well done, but he's also losing a lot of mining time here.
Yep, I think now MaNa's already satisfied with his little opening here. He didn't even lose his probe. A lot of lost mining time. He's going to ignore this Reaper for now. There is a Cyclone on the way. If I'm SpeCial, I will not keep a single SCV on the low ground.
The next couple of Marines are also a little bit late, so yeah, now SpeCial can't even really mine from the low ground until he gets out that Cyclone, because the Stalker's going to be annoying here. The Reaper moved across the map, but the Stalker is sitting over at that front door, not going to allow anything to happen.
Yeah, very clean start here for MaNa. Not the best case scenario, but absolutely a decent scenario. He got some value out of his Zealot, a lot of SCVs, not mining. At this point, SpeCial can't really use his SCVs on the low ground yet. Obviously, the Cyclone is going to save the day here, and then this Stalker is going to have to retreat home. Felt like we just went back to a breakdancing Stalker. You know?
Man, I feel like MaNa is such a momentum-based player. I keep talking about this, and I know other people talked about it as well, but those previous games, I've got to just be building into this, because, again, you said it's such a clean opening for MaNa. He's not exactly always had the cleanest games, but when he is playing well, it just continues to feed into him playing better and better and better.
That bunker isn't done yet, and 3 Stalkers. If he kites these Stalkers properly, and one thing we know about MaNa is that his micro is always on point. Cyclones are really good in the straight-up fight, but if these Stalkers shoot and run back exactly the way that MaNa is doing it, this is awkward for SpeCial. He shouldn't... Ooh, that bunker almost went down as well. This is just not the start you want to have as a Terran player.
Look at how many low-health Marines there are. The medevacs aren't even going to be coming out anytime soon because there's the Liberator on the way instead. The bunker almost gets delayed once again, and MaNa doesn't even need more than 3 Stalkers to just put on substantial amounts of pressure for SpeCial.
A few SCVs are going to get picked off over here as well. Oracle shows up in the main base, got a little bit of additional damage. I mean, SpeCial is just getting pulled all over the place. The Marines start falling. 1 shot, 1 kill for all of these Stalkers.
Oh, that focus fire from MaNa, picking off the low health Marines. He gets it. So there's only 3 Marines left in that bunker. Are you kidding me? This is light pressure for MaNa. He's killed off 6 Marines, a Reaper, 4 SCVs, and he's only lost that initial Zealot.
6 start. They're absolutely the best start I think that MaNa's had in every single game so far. He's going to go up to 3 bases. He's going to open up with Blink this time, which I think is smart. I believe there is a Liberator. Yes, over here on the left side.
Second one also coming out. I don't know if he ever got up a medevac during any of this. Not that he has many Marines to heal up anyways.
No medevacs yet. Stalker's still a little bit out of position, so finally SpeCial's able to do a tiny bit of economic damage on the other side of the map. Maybe just 2 probes. Nope.
One probe.
But it's still lost mining time as well, and it does add up, and that's something that SpeCial needs. He needs to start disrupting this economy of MaNa a tiny bit.
And luckily does also keep that Liberator alive, so he can pair that up with the second Liberator, maybe try and do some multi-pronged harassment with that. The Stargate is going to be a bit annoying if MaNa decides to make that Phoenix. It makes it a lot harder to get consistent Liberator damage done, but there we end up seeing SpeCial saying, okay, I got to throw down my 3rd base. I got to get ready for the next stage.
I think it makes sense for SpeCial. I really hope he doesn't make a similar move out with Marines and tanks, because that's just not going to work.
Not after this opening.
After the start he had. He does salvage this bunker. Now the Oracles are going to show up in the main base. They're going to pick off a couple of SCVs as well. Maybe one Oracle gets picked off. Yes, it does. But
going to lose a few SCVs over here and even delays that 3rd base for a little bit longer. SCV starts back up on that, though, and we do have that 1 Phoenix being made to help deal with the Liberator harassment.
Yeah, a couple Stalkers in the main base as well. What a game so far by MaNa. It really feels like all the pieces are falling in the right place for our Polish Protoss. May end up losing 1 probe here. Yes, it is, but that's a good trade. He picks up that Liberator as well. SpeCial's moving out. I really don't like this move out. Blink is done. This move out has been revealed. This is such a risky move out. He's going up to 3 bases behind this. He lost both Liberators. I don't know, SpeCial. You're playing with fire here.
This is going to get really dangerous, and you can see, oh, the Phoenix scouts out the medevac, but did MaNa notice he may be a little bit too concerned with the actual units he has revelation, like the Siege Tanks and the Marines. He throws out another revelation there.
Forward blink.
To see it. Forward blink, he's going to be able to take out some of these Marines. He lifts up the Siege Tank in the back, he takes out the Siege Tank in the front, and all of these Marines are going to go down. The drop happens in the main base while MaNa cleans up this force. How much damage is he going to be able to do? Just 2 Cyclones. He's got to do so much, but he is getting damage done.
Yeah, that's a mistake. You don't want to attack Cyclones with your probes there, MaNa. That is not a fight. That's very favorable for probes. Good damage here by SpeCial. He lost all of his units in the main base, in the middle of the map. Oh my goodness, does he have anything at home though?
Oh,
the tank is not siege.
Just one tank, it's not siege. Blink forward, he starts off the siege tank, he's sniping off the Marines. SCVs and Mules pulled off the line for SpeCial. Desperation mode. He's still trying to do damage on the outside of the map with the Cyclones. He is getting some damage, but is getting cleaned up by the Stalkers and the shield batteries.
That could very well be it. SpeCial's floating a lot of money as well. Oh my goodness, 1,100 minerals in the bank. He just hasn't been able to pump out enough units. Maybe the buildings were late. The Oracles picked up SCVs as well. These Stalkers, they could have ended the game there. Did you see that trader SCV that pushed the tank forward? It's like, what the hell was that?
Out of the way, women and children first. But here we go, MaNa on the verge of maybe making it to the grand finals. After how long? After so long. Roddy, hold me, a Protoss in the grand finals.
I can't believe it. And MaNa, out of all the Protoss as well, we had 2 Protoss. Well, we had 1 Protoss in the final, of course, at Leipzig. And we had plenty of NEEP success last year. But MaNa, and last time we saw him in the final was when we were in Poland. That was a fantastic tournament back then. And he lost against that Frenchman, Lilbao. But it was a nail-biting series, and it was one hell of a tournament run. And this round, it truly came out of nowhere. But MaNa is gearing up for some good old Protoss magic with a Guardian Shield, with Zealots, with Stalkers.
And what's in the War Prison? We understand the Zealots charging on forward. SCV is being pulled off the line. All the tanks have been taken out. GG gets called. MaNa advances to the grand finals, 3-1.
Unreal. What a comeback so far by MaNa. This tournament, not many people looked at him as a potential for even the quarterfinals, but he defied all the odds. And suddenly we are looking at MaNa in the WCS finals in 2018 and win. I mean, in what impressive way he's done it as well.
He takes out the best Protoss player said to be in the entire foreign scene. He takes out one of his teammates, one of the best European Zerg players, Snoot, and now he takes out SpeCial. We're gonna hear from the man himself over on the main stage with Smix.
Thank you very much for your dragon, MaNa. You told me that at the beginning of this year, you decided to practice damn hard. And it looks like it's paying hard. Maybe not in quite those words, but it looks like it's paying off because now you're in the grand finals. It's been nearly 3 years since you've done so. How much does this moment mean to you?
It's a great step forward. We are halfway through the year. There are still two more WCS events, and this is the first time in WCS events that I have an actual chance to go to BlizzCon. So it's an overwhelming feeling, and I hope I can keep my calm to the grand finals as well.
Definitely deserve the cheers for that series because you played out of your freaking mind. If I had to pick one map to ask you about, I want to ask about 16-bit because you somehow held your ground despite the fact that SpeCial was absolutely relentless with this harass. How do you deal with that?
Once I lost the natural, like my pocket base, I was like, God damn it, 16-bit. But yeah, I know that I was in a big advantage because of the early game. I sniped a lot of his Marines and I defended his harass quite well. But then, of course, I can't really do too much of a counter harassment because of the length of the map. But I try to keep my calm. I made numerous mistakes here and there, but so did he. But I was able to take better trades, finally get his expansion going, and the final fight was quite fun as well.
Fun indeed, and now you're moving on to the grand finals. When I just first walked up to you, you told me one more. Well, Cyril, the final raid boss, stands in your way. Your road to this grand finals has been out of this world. You first took down Neeb, the 3-time WCS champion, then Snoot, the most successful non-Korean player of all time, and now you just took down SpeCial, the best Terran non-Korean of all time. This is crazy. Can you take down Cyril?
If I take down Cyril, I'll just go to sleep and not wake up. Like, this is... I'm feeling very fine with my games. There's still more stuff that I can do, of course, but the finals is best of 7, and I was talking with the pro gamers backstage. I was like, yeah, if I get to the grand finals, that's so great, because I can get at least 4 practice games with Cyril.
Well, I'm I'm sure Austin will have your back in cheering for you. Congratulations once again. MaNa is headed to the grand finals.
In an astonishing turn of events, MaNa comes in as the spoiler for WCS Austin, defeating most of the favorites that were picked to be able to defeat SpeCial. He is the one that has come this far, and with what a match, guys.
I couldn't believe he came back after that Prisms night we just saw in the highlight, losing all his high Templar in that. You know, this was just, it's MaNa in a nutshell, man. He gets behind, he's so clutch, he's microing every unit. I mean, the 16-bit game, just the fights going on in the north and the south, the drops, it was crazy.
For me, when you look at Team Liquid, one of the most storied esports organizations in StarCraft history, both StarCrafts, you think of their players, right? They had 4 players. They had TLO, Snoot, Petit Drogo, and MaNa. You think, okay, which player is going to get the furthest? Well, maybe you think of Uthermal, maybe you think of Snoot, both very, very strong right now. And then even TLO making it to the round of 16, you're like, okay, well, everybody's doing really well. And then you look at MaNa, and he is really just skyrocketed his way all the way to the finals. In that interview with Smix, he sounded like he's along for the ride. He's just like, wow, well, I guess I did it. Wow, it's really great to be here. So, you know, it feels a little bit magical, right, to have him here in the grand finals after such a long time. I think it was maybe 2012, the last time he won a DreamHack way back then. It's just been a while, but it does look magical, and I'm excited to see if he can keep his magic going.
Yeah, pretty amazing performance out of MaNa here at this WCS Austin. That finalizes our bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Our grand final here. The top 2, it's going to be SpeCial versus MaNa. I don't think any one of us could have even guessed that this final might maybe happen when we started our round of 16. You know, we talked about players like Neeb, we talked about Snoot, we talked about a laser SpeCial.
Yeah.
And MaNa just slipped under the radar, somehow managed to destroy Neeb and then completely sweep Snoot, and now defeating SpeCial. What a turn of events.
3-1 as well, not even a 3-2 against SpeCial. You know, so decisive from MaNa today, and it's just been cool because you can hear the crowd chanting before.
Yeah.
He's a guy where he does kind of show his emotions. He's always kind of out there getting everyone riled up, and I think there's going to be a lot of people cheering for him. You know, he goes in as the underdog into the finals, but it's like he's been the underdog in the previous series and the one before that and the one before that. Like, he's got that momentum going.
Yeah, the most gnarly momentum.
Yeah. It's like 2015 all over again, right? You know, it was the same story then in Poland. He got to the grand finals. Everyone kept underestimating him, saying, look, he's not going to make it through the next round. This is such a good opponent. He just kept doing it again and again. So MaNa, if there's one word to describe him, it's absolutely clutch.
Yeah, just an astonishing performance out of the Team Liquid Protoss player here. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up after the break will be our grand final. It is time to see who will become the second circuit champion of 2018. It's time for SpeCial versus MaNa.